Okay everyone, I would like to finish this sketchbook. I only have a few spreads left and I would like to draw Studio Ghibli backgrounds. I would like to talk a bit why I wasn't here for the last 6 months. So if you want to listen to that, keep the audio. If not, you can mute me and just work in your sketchbook while I'm keeping you company, whichever works for you. Lately, I've been struggling a lot with imposter syndrome and art block, and I wanted to share my experiences with you. One of the best pieces of advice I've received on how to fight art block is to just keep creating and push through it. And it worked for me for years. But what happens when it stops working? What happens when your art block is caused by the feeling that your art isn't good enough? That you aren't good enough? What happens when you combine that with overwhelming thoughts of everything you want and need to do? It can paralyze you and make you feel guilty for wasting time. That's exactly what I've been feeling for the past 6 months. Everything was great at the end of last year. My little art business was doing well, I was busy with custom orders, and I was creating a lot of stuff that I shared on social media. But then, slowly, I started feeling burnt out. The holiday season is usually super busy, and at first I thought it was normal. I believe that taking a week or two to rest will do me good. However, my constant fear of not being good enough began to creep in. And for some reason, I started listening to it. That's when I experienced the biggest art block ever. My work started to suffer and I would freak out because this is my job. I felt the need to take it more seriously. I would then make plans and crumble under the pressure of trying to make everything happen at once. I constantly felt like I was falling behind because I was trying to do so many things. Running your own business involves so much work that often goes unnoticed. Not only do I need to create the art and make the products, but I also need to photograph everything and film it and edit the content and put it on social media. The list goes on and on. And behind the scenes, there are many other tasks like taxes, inventory, and customer service. For me, the task I don't enjoy doing, like for example photography, create a loop of wanting to improve but feeling overwhelmed by the amount of information available. Eventually, this leads to not doing anything because I can't seem to prioritize or focus on my creative work when I'm overwhelmed. Another factor that contributes to my art block is spending too much time on social media. It's easy to get lost in comparing myself to other artists and feeling less confident because I'm not where they are. Interestingly, we often fail to appreciate how far we've come. Just yesterday, I forced myself to reflect on my art journey with a positive mindset. I realized how much my art has improved over the past 3 years since I started my 365 days project. I even thought of making a video about my art journey and how I've improved. Please let me know if you'd be interested in that. There are other aspects I've improved as well, like my English skills, presenting my work, and even photography. And I think that's the key, looking at yourself with gratitude and being proud of how far you've come. Self-care is important for everyone, but I think that for artists it's crucial. Let me share some examples of what works for me. First, limit your time on social media, especially the toxic habit of comparing yourself to others. There will always be people who are better than you, and there will always be people who are not. The only thing you can do is focus on working on your craft and becoming better at it one step at a time. One great thing about social media is engaging with artistic communities. By hearing experiences, exchanging feedback, and collaborating with others, you can find support and encouragement during times of art block. It reminds you that you're not alone in your struggles and can help spark your enthusiasm for creating. Another helpful strategy is creating a consistent schedule for your creative practice. Set aside dedicated time for art, even if it's just a few minutes a day. This cultivates discipline and consistency, and it sends a signal to your mind that you prioritize and value your creative expression. Try exploring different mediums and playing with your art without expecting it to turn into something great. When you don't put too much pressure on yourself, you might be pleasantly surprised by the results. And if all else fails, take a break. Go outside and engage in activities that inspire you. For me, it's hiking and spending time in nature. For you, it could be reading a good book or having a conversation with a friend. Just remember not to feel guilty while you're taking a break. Rest and rejuvenation are important not only for our mental health, but also for finding our creative spark. And lastly, trust in your own artistic journey. Understand that creative blocks are temporary and a natural part of the creative cycle. Have faith in your abilities and the skills you will develop over time. Trust that your inspiration will return and your creativity will flow once again. Thank you all for sticking with me as I tackled this creative block monster. I appreciate your support. Stay tuned for my next video where I'll be sharing some exciting new projects. Until then, take care and keep creating. Bye!